Hey everyone, Jamie Broderick. Thank you for joining me today. I'm thrilled to be spending time with Dr. Liz Bywater. She has been working with top executives for I won't say how many years, helping them become better leaders, communicate better with their team, and increase productivity in the office. She also has a psychology practice, super successful, has a Cornell undergrad, and a PhD in psychology. She's busy. She's also the author of a forthcoming book called Slow Down to Speed Up. So what about that, huh? Love it. How you doing, Liz?
I'm doing great, Jamie. How are you?
Excellent.
Good. You can hear me okay? Everything's good with our technology.
Awesome. Yeah, Blab's working. Blab's working for you. It's good.
Okay, awesome.
So one of the things I do with my clients is make sure that they step into the leadership space, because being seen as a leader and having that credibility and that platform really elevates them as a business owner and allows them to be more successful by owning it, just standing there and taking ownership and becoming that leader that they should be. Yeah. So tell me, why don't you share with our audience the top traits of leaders, for instance?
Sure. Oh yeah, that's great. As you said, I work a lot with senior executives. My space is primarily the Fortune 500. Actually, most of my clients are Fortune 50 clients, and they're very successful. You know, they're people who have figured out in their own way how to get results, how to drive leadership, how to improve performance, how to help others become strong and successful leaders, and in many ways, how to get the most out of life. And so I've really done a lot of observation along the lines, because you really can't advise people unless you see what's already happening and build on the stuff that's good and help them kind of tweak things that can be improved upon. So I've come up with a list of the top 10 traits of the most successful leaders. I came up with this list, and let me tell you, it's not all inclusive. There are probably more traits that I think of every single day that I notice among my clients. I'm going to tell you a few of them for now. Caveat being, no leader does all of these things. No leader has to do or be all of these things. Each of us is unique. And some of the things that I like to bring back to my clients again and again is you have to build on who you are. Who you are, where your strengths lie, what you're passionate about, what you love to do. Not try to be like some other leader, but try to be the leader that you are. So that said, let me pull out a few that I think are almost universal and just very important for success. So I tell my clients that to be impactful, influential, successful at driving results, they have to be relationship masters. That doesn't mean they have to be Bill Clinton style charisma. Nobody needs to be a certain type of relationship master, but you have to be good at earning trust, genuinely earning trust among other people. You have to be good at showing people that you are true to your word. You have to do things for other people and not simply ask other people to do things for you. You have to be available and accessible. I could go on, but I think one of the most important things about being a successful leader, and a successful person for that matter, is to be really good at navigating and sustaining wonderful relationships.
Oh yeah.
So that's number one.
Toxic relationship blows the whole thing.
Absolutely. It does. And frankly, sometimes a kind of a mediocre relationship is not going to help you much either. So even if somebody doesn't run away when they see you coming, unless they're enthusiastically excited that you're coming, there's a big difference between, Johnny's at the door versus, hey, Johnny's at the door, and it's not always that overt, but you know what I'm talking about.
Right.
So relationship masters. Another thing that I actually find is very important for good leadership is to be deliberately and vulnerably self-reflective. So that doesn't mean you have to go sit on a mountain somewhere and spend a weekend or a week or a month or a year saying, who am I and why am I on this earth? And you don't have to, it's not that complicated, but to take time and to really understand who you are as a leader, as a person, as a family member. What are the things that are most important to you? What are you driving towards? and how do you come across to others? I mean, these are just a few of the things that a good leader really needs to know without being self-indulgent. Oh, it's all about me, and without being self-aggrandizing, aren't I wonderful? And frankly, without beating yourself up, because I do work with some leaders, and I actually find it's more women than men, although I don't want to overly generalize, who are too hard on themselves. And so they'll self-reflect, and what they'll see is, well, I'm not really good enough at this, and somehow people think I was good enough to get this new VP role, but they'll find out soon enough I'm a fraud. And to that I tell them, just fake it till you make it. They believe it, you'll believe it soon enough.
Right.
So the self-reflection piece is very important for good leadership. Let me pull one other out of my top 10 list that I think would be most useful for today. One of the things that I think is very important is to be really flexible. So great leaders, they know who they are. They have a solid core. They have a solid foundation. You always think of like if you do yoga or Pilates, you're super flexible. You can get into different positions. You can adapt. Your body doesn't break or get unduly harmed by going into different positions, but your core is solid as a rock. And that's what a great leader is. They know who they are. They are authentic. They are true to themselves. But you know what? Circumstances require different approaches. They require that we try different things. We listen to others' points of view, and we flex from time to time. So that's another very important trait of successful leaders, being what I call solidly flexible.
That's excellent. So I know you give this list of 10 out as a freebie.
Yeah.
How do we get a hold of it?
So you can text, and let me see, Jamie, you're the tech guru, so you gave me the number that people can text, and if you have it in front of you, maybe you can tell I think it's 44222. So if they just go onto their text and text 44222, and they put they put Bywater in caps as their message, then they will receive my full list of top 10 traits of successful leaders.
Awesome. So text the word Bywater to 44222 and you will get all 10. It's awesome.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And by the way, when you get that, if you find, and this for anybody listening, that there are some that come to mind that are especially interesting to you, or that you've noticed, that leaders that you admire tend to show certain traits or qualities, let me know. I'd love to hear more of what other people's experiences have been.
Well, yesterday we had a workshop with Patty D'Alessio of Reinvent Interactive, and we were talking about viral headlines, and top 10 and lists are one of the top things that people share online. So
it's one of the top 10 things people share online.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's a good giveaway on Facebook. Hey, Kathy, you want to jump on and add to the conversation about, I saw you giving props to Liz when she started talking about the importance of relationships for leadership. So here comes Kathy Marcino of KMM Disc Consulting. I think you guys are connected on LinkedIn.
We are.
Yeah, I'm sure we are. Hi, Kathy. How are you?
Hi, Liz. Nice to see you.
Yeah, you too.
You made my heart sing earlier when you were talking about identifying strengths and what a leader needs to lead. And you said everybody is unique, and it just made my heart skip a little bit. I work with the DISC model of human behavior. So I conduct behavioral assessments to do similar to what you do, to help improve communication, to help improve productivity. It's all about leveraging your personality traits to help you be successful. So once you identify your own motivators and behaviors, and you see those in others, the result is a better working relationship.
For sure.
And it doesn't even have to be in a professional environment. It can be a personal relationship as well. So you said everybody is unique, and you're right. Everybody's hardwired differently. So I'm sure with your leaders, you could have the same message, but I bet you could say the same thing to 3 different leaders, and they will hear you in 3 different ways.
They will. They'll hear me in different ways, and they'll respond in different ways.
Yep.
We all of us hear things through our own particular lens and point of view. And what's a strength for one individual in one role, in one circumstance, may be, a weakness or a vulnerability for a different person in a different circumstance. So, I'll give you an example. I think right now there's starting to become a little momentum around the fact that not everybody has to be a super outgoing, loud vivacious, charismatic leader to be a leader. There can be a quiet leader. There can be a more introspective, introverted kind of leader that can be, incredibly effective in his or her own way. Yet when I'm working with executives in some of these Fortune 500 companies, the feedback that they sometimes will receive, and I'll say maybe somebody who's got technical expertise. I work with a lot of people in R&D or across healthcare and pharmaceuticals. So they have either an IT sort of way of seeing things or a scientific way. And they're often...
No. We lost her.
Oh, no.
Right, you and I can talk. Okay. So Kathy.
Oh, wait, did you lose me?
Oh, no.
What's the website? kmmdiscconsulting.com?
kmmdisc.com.
kmmdisc.com. Yeah. And your focus is going to be on sales teams.
Sales teams,
although you
sales
work with others.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's excellent. So what did you think about the viral headline workshop yesterday?
Oh, I thought it was fantastic. I thought that Patty did a great job. She made it so easy to understand and so relatable for everyone, because everyone is using these platforms right now, but I don't think everybody knows how to use them in the best way.
Exactly.
So I got a lot out of it.
It's good.
Can you see me, Jamie?
Is the star of the show back?
There she is.
You know what's funny? I didn't even know I went away. You said, "Oh, we lost her," and I'm watching myself and I'm hearing myself. I don't know what happened. So strange. Yeah.
You got the boot by the tech guy.
Oh no! Yeah. They said get out of it. What was it? So I was talking about my quiet leaders, right?
Yeah.
So, all right. Let me get to my point. So in working with wonderful people like this, sometimes they'll be in a meeting or with other kind of more loud and vivacious stakeholders, and they give the impression, or they are told they give the impression that they're not engaged, that they're not strategic, that they are wallflowers, and for those people, sometimes you just have to say, listen, in this setting, if you want to show up with somebody as a leader that will get others' attention, find your one spot. You don't have to talk throughout the whole meeting. You don't have to pound on a desk. Find your one spot. Make your one key point that people will step away and say, oh, yeah, when Kathy talks, now that's something worth listening to. I know we might hear from her once in a meeting, but she's talking, my mouth is shut and my ears are open. So
how do you do that? How do you get them to listen to you? To that one point.
To that one point. Well, I think there's a few ways. Listen, I think, this goes back to being a relationship master, right? So if you've already established your relationships with people in your everyday work together, and you've shown them that you bring value, and you've shown them that you're smart and that you think they're smart and you want to hear what they have to say, then, and they get to know your style, then you might be in that larger setting and they're waiting for it. They know that when you get up to bat, you're not fluffing and you're not just saying, yeah, me too. Yeah, it's funny. I just had this strange flashback when back in my college days, a million years ago, I was in a sorority, and I'd forgotten about this. I remember when people used to agree with something, they'd do this, they wouldn't say it, but it would be like the ditto, it would probably be like, oh, we're having a frat party with, Theta Chi, but it's that kind of thing. You know that the quiet leader isn't going to jump in just with a ditto. They're going to jump in with an interesting strategic point, a new perspective, something that maybe other people hadn't been thinking about yet. Make sense?
Yes.
Yeah.
Makes sense. It's good. So one of the points you talked about when you were listing your leadership traits was stepping back, taking time. Would that relate to the slow down to speed up concept of your book?
It definitely does. And it's interesting because I've been talking with my clients and my leaders about this for years now. So you were very kind. You didn't mention how many years I've been doing this work. And it is, people know this. It's been over a decade that I've been almost exclusively working with Fortune 500 leaders, and over 20 years that in my life as a clinical psychologist, I've been helping people be more effective and successful and live better lives. So it's been a long time that I've been talking to people about stepping back, slowing down, being more reflective. And, so yes, I decided when I started working on my book, that was an important piece, to step off this, runaway train, right? We're all busy and rushing and hustling and going and doing every single day. We're making decisions rapidly. We're back to back in meetings. We're answering email, phone calls, and texts constantly. We're pretending we can multitask. We know that we can't really multitask, but we know the brain now doesn't do that, but we still try. And my clients are constantly, in their words, fighting fires. What's the crisis of the day? What's the next thing we have to jump to? So you can only be so successful operating in that model as an individual, as a leader, as the manager of a team, as the leader of an organization. There's only so much success you can have holding the ship together and putting your thumb in the damn wall where there's a hole, But to step back and be reflective, not only in terms of what your strengths and your history has been, but in terms of what you're going to do next, how you're going to meet the current challenges and what's coming around the bend. How do you set yourself, your team, your organization up for maximum success, knowing that things will change, market conditions will change, you will, gain or lose new types of talent in your organization, new regulations may come around the bend. You always have to have an eye to the future. So to be strategic in the way you approach that, to take time to reflect on how am I going to have the greatest impact and mitigate risk. Incredibly important stuff for powerful leadership. And yes, very much a part of what I talk about in the book.
What do you think of that, Kath?
Oh, I'm loving it, especially when it comes to teams, because the manager sets the tone. And you talk about the quiet leader, and you think if someone's not saying something, that they're not engaged. But really, if you look at the DISC model, you would say they're a high C, and they're taking it all in, and that's how they process. And then you're right, you may just hear a little soundbite here and there, but that soundbite is the most important thing that you'll hear, because they're taking in all of those variables that you're saying, and they're already 5 steps ahead of you. So I totally get that. I see that.
Kathy, do you remember from back in the day, the old commercial when E.F. Hutton talks, people listen?
People listen.
Yeah. I've used that with clients. It's funny. I have one of my favorite clients of all time. He's a sales leader. And so his personality, not surprisingly, is very outgoing, engaging, energetic, talkative, people-friendly, kind of got perfect to be successful in that role. But as he continued to escalate in leadership in his organization and was really playing with the big boys, up at the C level, had to tone it down in places, right? The way he interacts with customers is not necessarily the way he's going to interact with the CEO of this, multi-billion-dollar organization. And so in that case, he and I worked towards being E.F. Hutton. You want people to start saying when E.F. Hutton talks, and not like, oh, he's talking again. I don't want to listen to him because he never stops talking. There's a balance to be struck. Well, it can sound like that, even if it's smart stuff. Even if you're engaged and enthusiastic and saying bright stuff, people do tune out after a while. So you want to have that E.F. Hutton moment.
Especially if they're teenagers, right? They tune you.
Yes, indeed. I have 2 teenagers now, which is very frightening and true and wonderful. So, yeah, true.
So they have shiny object syndrome and they can't focus.
Yeah, right. That's right.
You're writing an article about that right now, KMM, aren't you?
I am. I'm writing about how squirrels are harming your sales.
Right.
As in, hey, look, a squirrel. Like that.
Yeah.
Not staying on track, right?
Right.
Well, that's part of what Liz's next piece is, right? So it's pause, reflect, and then project, right? So that strategy piece. Why don't you talk about that a little more?
Yeah, so let me tell you briefly the overall model that I work with my clients and is going to be part of the book as well. It's PRP, or pause, reflect, project. And the pausing is really, it's multifold. So it's pausing from the hecticness of the day-to-day in order to step back and be more strategic. It's pausing to look at what your personal path and trajectory have been. What are the things that got me to where I am today? Everything from your personal background, your educational background, your work history, your life experiences, all of those things, both in terms of your successes, I call them sort of pivotal successes if they were really transformational in some way, or pivotal regrets, things that the decisions you made, actions you took that you might have done differently if you had thought about it in a different way. So looking at taking that part, being informed is the project. Reflect is more your personal journey. So it's, who am I? What do I bring? What's holding me back? And why do I, add value to the world? What motivates me? What excites me? What's my passion? To use the old expression, what gets me out of bed in the morning? So that's where you really get into the self-reflection piece. And if you're a leader or if you're working with your team, you can do that in terms of more business outcomes. Where's the company been? Where's our organization been? Why do we do what we do? I work with teams sometimes on building their mission statements and their kind of their tagline for the organization. What's our brand? What do we do? Why is it important? Why does anybody care? So that's the R, PR, pause, reflect. And then project, that's all about taking all of that thoughtful pausing and reflection and doing something with it. What you don't want to do is just be thoughtful and reflective and then nothing happens with that. It's about taking an intention. Okay, so whether it's a personal goal, so I want to leave a legacy. I want to get to the end of my career and I want to have left a legacy as somebody who makes the world a better place. I want to make this a better place for people with cancer. I want to make the world a better place by creating an organization full of leaders who are enthusiastic and excited and who create additional leaders. I want to help make, the world a better place in terms of accessibility to food and education, you name it, right? It's whatever your legacy might be. So that might be part of what I call your inspiring destination. If it's for an organization, same process. What does the company want to do? What do you as a department want to achieve? By when? What does that vision look like? What's compelling about it? And then you have to map it out, right? You have to create a plan and put it on paper, So these are our 2 priorities for 2016. So one priority is, whatever it happens to be for your company or your team or for yourself personally, these are the action steps that will get me there. So it's not just good enough to know where you want to go. That's foundational, but what you have to do to get there, so I want to become a relationship master. Well, okay, that's fabulous. What do you have to do to become a relationship master? Well, you have to get time with people. You have to sit down over lunch. You have to bring them valuable information. You have to be reliable and accessible, et cetera, et cetera. You have to figure out what your timelines are. So I'm going to start doing X, Y, and Z tomorrow. I will complete such and such project initiative meeting by, 3 weeks from Wednesday, whatever, but get some metrics, get some timelines, know that you are measuring success in some way. Another part of this process is identifying who or what you'll need to be successful. Do you need resources? Do you need others around you that will help support you, hold you accountable, teach you? Do you need a mastermind group? Do you need a coach? I do a lot of executive coaching. I work with, coaches and mentors myself. I think there's nothing more valuable or important than having somebody really engaged, bright, knowledgeable to help you advance your goals more quickly. So who or what will get you there? And then you hit the ground running. You have a piece of paper in front of you. You have, okay, I'm going to look at this today. Yep, these are my goals. These are my priorities. This other stuff on my calendar doesn't fit. I cannot have it on my calendar because it will not advance my goals and priorities. Have to either delegate it out, push it off, or get rid of it altogether. So that in a broad brushstroke, that's your project plan to accelerate your success, get results faster.
Yeah, that's excellent. That fits in with your don't chase the squirrels, right, Kath?
It does. Yeah, it really does. How do you take, you said this earlier, Liz, when you're working primarily with women, they tend to feel like, oh, a little insecure. I don't know whether I can do this. I think our first thought is it has to be about everybody else first and then us.
Yeah.
So it's so hard to take that step back because we feel like we can do everything or we need to do everything. And it's so hard to put that off to the side and say, I have to focus on this. That guilt that stays with us.
It's guilt. It's a sense of wanting to not let people down. It's high achievement. I will say that I actually, even with the male executives that I work with, the phrase that I use is you've got to put on your own oxygen mask first. So, right, we're all familiar with this. Right? You don't even pay attention to it, but you're on an airplane and imagine as a mother, oh my God, I would put my own oxygen mask before saving my child. But if you pass out, you can't help anybody else, right. And so whether it's as a mother or a leader, whether you're male or female, to attend to your own development, to meeting your own goals, to progressing thoughtfully and deliberately and quickly, everything you do to help grow as a leader and as an individual, better positions you to help the people in your life, whether it's the people in your personal life, the people in your professional life, your organization. You have to put on your own oxygen mask first.
That's good. Really good.
Tell
us when is the book going to be released?
Fantastic question. I don't yet have the answer. I will be meeting with my agents in New York in a couple of weeks, and I'm very excited to have some conversations with them. But my best guess would be very early 2017. That's the goal. Maybe a little earlier, but my guess would be with juggling just a few other things, or probably early 2017. But I will absolutely let you know, and anybody who texts in, I will send them advance notice of the book launch as well, so that they can have as early a copy as possible.
Tell us the proposed full title.
Slow down to speed up, harnessing the power of pausing to improve leadership, advance your career, and get things done.
That's great. Yeah, I think that would apply to not just executives, but anyone. It's really good.
Yeah, that's the goal. That's the goal, to have really a targeted audience, and yet to have enough in there that really is going to help a broad swath of people.
Yeah. Good stuff, girl.
Thank you.
Yeah. So if you want to get Liz's top 10 leadership traits, text the word Bywater, Bywater, to the number 44222, and we will email that over to you. Tell us how to find you on the web, bywaterconsultinggroup.com.
Yes, ma'am. www.bywater, and it's bywaterconsultinggroup.com.
I love you. You're so cute with the www.
Nobody does that anymore.
That internet thing.
You know the W's? Yeah.
Yeah.
They're the W. Yeah, you probably don't even have to put in those W's, huh? Okay. That's how you can find me.
You have any other questions for Liz, Kathy?
It was a pleasure meeting you, and I wish you all the best.
Thank you, Kathy. Thank you so much for being on the call today. Really appreciate it.
It's great.
Okay.
Any final words of wisdom, Liz, you'd like to share with us that we didn't cover yet?
Well, I guess I just want to reemphasize that, we all have the potential to be as successful as we want to be. And it might not look like what we thought it would look like when we were 5 or 10 or 18. Reality sets in, and goals and opportunities change over the course of a lifetime. But to take the time to slow down from the everyday, busy, crazy, putting out fires kind of pace that we all live in today, to identify who you are, what you bring, what's holding you back, and where you want to go is the foundational piece to actually getting there much more quickly, and with far fewer bumps along the way. So I really encourage everyone watching us today to slow down, to speed up.
Yeah, that's really good. Really good. I do see that a lot with business owners, Liz, where they are spending their days doing a million things, but none of them are getting them closer to their real goals.
Yeah. I see it all the time. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Squirrels.
Yeah. Squirrels.
Exactly. Yeah.
We're all on the same page.
Butterfly. Yeah.
All right, Liz. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Jamie. Thank you, Kathy. Great seeing you both.
Take care.
All right. Bye-bye now. Take care.